Hey, and what's up you guys? This is a new tutorial on how to start on Autocad. This is a beginning friendly video and we'll start with the basics in this video. So first of all, this is the first interface we'll be facing when we open Autocad. Of course, here we have the files we recently worked on, and I don't have any recent files because I set my Autocad into default, so that's why. We can set our recent files either onto wedges like this or onto files like this one. Of course, we have here two buttons, open and new. What's the difference? Let's see. First of all, open. It shows us the files we already worked on or we already have on our desktop or in the computer in general. So it will show you the name of the file. Of course, you can search down here for the name of the file and just pick open, and then it'll open up on the file. But of course, we're going to start on a new file, so let's open new. Of course, when we pick on new, we're going to start with this interface right here. And of course, we have the bar that has the files we're working on. Like we see here, drawing 1 and drawing 2. And of course, it automatically names your files as drawing 1, drawing 2, drawing 3, as you can see, and so on with the numbering of the drawings. But let's say I just tapped on start. What happens? Of course, it takes us back to the first interface. And let's say I want to go to the first drawing or the second or the third. I just press on it and it takes me to it. And let's say you want to get rid of the files you already opened. You just press X on it and it disappears. And if I press X on all the files, it'll take me to the same interface we began with. So let's start and press on new. You can see it already named automatically, gave me drawing number 4 as a naming for our file. And of course, you can change the name of the file by pressing Ctrl S. That's short for save, and it'll give you a window to enter the new name and where you want to save it. So let's carry on with the video. Of course, here we have on top the toolbar. It has all the tools that we'll be working with, and down here we have the search bar. So let's say we just by accident pressed on X for the search bar. So a window will pop up, and of course it's telling us here we can press Ctrl 9 and it'll re-pop up again if that ever happened. So let's try it together. Ctrl 9. So now let's start with the tools. The first tool we're going to start with is line, and it's the most important to start drawing. You can click on it from the toolbar and start drawing like you see now. And when you want to stop drawing, you just click escape on your keyboard. Or you can search it down here on the search bar, and you can start with LI, and you can see it already gave you options. So we can click on it from up here and start drawing, or we can just type L, enter, and that is the easiest way to get a line. And of course, with selecting, we have a green select and a blue select, as you see. So what's the difference between a green select and a blue select? Okay, let's just focus on this tip right here. So let's do a green select. You can see how it took both of the lines. Let's just do escape and try with the blue select, and you can see it didn't take it. So let's just try and take the whole thing, and now it selected it. That's why the green select, you don't need the shape to be inside the green area fully. You just need a part of it to be inside for it to be selected. But in the blue select, it needs to be fully in the blue area to be selected. And you can see how it turns lighter when it's selected. Okay, that's all about the line. Now let's start with the polyline. Let's select it from the toolbar. And of course we can draw any shape we want. Let's just say like this. Or we can just type PL enter and then it will give us a polyline. And that is the easier way. And so now let's compare the two between a line and a polyline. Let's just draw a random shape with both of them. Let's just select a line from both of the shapes. You can see when we selected a line from the polyline, it selected the whole shape. That's because the lines are connected with each other, but when we draw a shape with a line, the lines stay separate. And you can see here in the first shape, we can move an individual line just by moving the line. But in the second shape where we use the polyline, it moves all together. So how can you make this shape like this shape? Before we begin, let me just tell you the benefits of using a polyline. First, it's just easier to work on a shape when it's connected all together. And of course, if you want to disconnect a line from the shape, you can always do that, and we'll talk about that later. And second of all, let's just say you want to give your shape a color or a line weight or just some texture. You just click on one line and the whole shape is connected, not like picking each individual line. And third, let's say we have a closed shape like a circle or a square and you want to give it a hatch. It will be way easier if it's a polyline. And let's say we want to connect these lines in the first shape. We just select it all and press J enter, and that's short for join. So let's select them both and see how they both now are the same. Okay, now let's try to make our lines a polyline using a closed shape. Let's draw one with line and one with polyline. And to make the ordinary line shape like the polyline shape, for the closed shapes we use boundary, and that's BO enter. It gives you this little window. You just press OK and then press inside the shape you want to make a polyline of. And you can see how it gives you a replica of the original shape we were working on, but now in polyline. Okay, now let's delete all this. And let's say you want to make a straight line. You can either press F8 on the keyboard or just press down here on the angle or the 90-degree angle and it will do the same thing. You have a straight line. And let's try it out and try to draw a square. And of course you can draw whatever you want just by typing the diameters of the shape you have. Let's say here we're drawing a square, so let's just type 10 by 10 by 10. Of course by 10 we're making a square here. And you can see the two shapes we have now. Okay, let's delete these and start with a new shape. Let's start with the circle. To get a circle, you just press C, enter on the keyboard and you get a circle. Or you can just press from the toolbar on circle and you can start there. You can see there's different ways to draw the circle. I recommend either the first one or the second one. Okay, let's delete those. One thing when you're drawing with the polyline, let's say you're tracing a picture you like or a shape you like and it had a curved edge or an arc. You can easily replicate that arc by pressing A, enter, or pressing down at the search bar. You can see it has arc, so you press on that and it gives you an arc. And let's say you want to go back to a line, you can press either the line down at the search bar or just press L, enter, and it would turn back to a normal straight line. As you can see, it's all connected. And of course there's different tools to draw with. As you can see here above, we have an arc and there's different ways to draw with an arc too. We have a rectangle and an oval, and down there we have hatches. We're gonna make a full video on hatches in the future. So yeah, this is today's video. I hope it helped you to start on AutoCAD, and I'll see you in the next one.